welcome again to my Never Wonderland. And for those who haven't seen my introduction video, allow me to introduce myself again. I am L.S.E and I'm starting a series of episodes about our in vitro fertilization journey. And this is episode 1, and I'm calling it The Backstory. I just thought that since this is a journey, there has to be a beginning that leads to the present or the current situation, right? So I'll begin the episode 1 with the backstory, and I have just the right journal entry right here in my trusty little notebook. And as I've mentioned in my previous video, I might read from this because I am not good in vlogging and impromptu speeches, so let me just read it to you. Okay. Unlike most couple, we were not blessed with a child right away. The conception process did not come easily for us. So here's a summary of our love story, so to speak. The year was 2013. February was the proposal. April, May, June, the wedding preparations. Of course, there's the usual wedding dramas over everything, but on top of that, we were also having problems with our reproductive health. You see, before the proposal, we've been living together for almost 3 years, and as a non-believer of weddings or marriages per se, I gave him a condition so that I would marry him. He and his family were a firm believer, not just of marriage, but of marriage or weddings in church. So my condition was either he gets me pregnant first, or he proposed to me a formal marriage proposal with ring and all. The first condition was what I truly wanted, because I really wanted a child, but since that doesn't seem to be happening anytime soon, I added the other option. He's not the romantic type, so I know that it would be difficult for him. Plus, I did want to have an engagement ring. Needless to say, he went with the second option. We went to Singapore, bought our rings, and he proposed over a lovely dinner at Level 33 restaurant. That was February 13. And then we got married in July of the same year. So fast forward to a year later, I took a job in a nearby province, which is my home province, away from his work and away from our home. Basically away from him. Our marital and baby project issues had been taking a toll on my mental health at that time. He was refusing or avoiding getting checked by a doctor, and it was driving me crazy. I understood his fear, but I wouldn't accept it. I know it's common among men, the fear of facing the possibility that there might be a problem in their reproductive capability. But I was thinking, for goodness sake, it's 2014 already. The age of machismo had already died a long time ago, or at least it should have been, but apparently not. So that drove me crazy, and I was very vocal about it. I even laid out the 3 worst case scenarios to him. 1, I cheat on him and get pregnant with another man. He finds out, and then he kills us both. 2, I endure in silence and wait until God knows when he plucks up the courage to go to see a doctor, but meanwhile lose my sanity altogether. You see, I've already done my part. I've been checked, and I had an HHCG procedure done to me. It's that thing that it's an ultrasound that you put liquid, or they put liquid into your uterus and in the ovaries to check if there are blockage or things like that. So I've already done that. So the third worst case scenario is we just go our separate ways right there and then, just end the agony. But while weighing my three options, the universe gave me a fourth one, and that was to take time and distance away from him in the form of a job offer in my province. So fast forward again to 2 years later, we patched things up bit by bit during those 2 years. We saw several OBGYNs. He had his sperm count checked and the quality a little bit low but still good enough. Then on my second year in the job, we decided to do the whole 9 yards of baby workup. So I filed my resignation letter, and as the universe would have it, we learned 4 days later after I filed that resignation letter that I was already pregnant. So just imagine our surprise and joy. It was beyond words. The resignation was just right in time. We knew that we would have to be very careful with the pregnancy given my geriatric situation. I was already 36 then. So I took it easy, used up all my work leave while serving my 30-day notice. I avoided driving unless there was no other choice, and that was only one time. But despite all our efforts, we lost our baby. Just a day after we formally announced to our parents, with a copy of the ultrasound in a sealed envelope given to them over a breakfast at our house. After we told them that we were pregnant, I experienced spotting that night. It was in the middle of, no, not that night, the following night, I guess. It was in the middle of the night. We rushed to the ER without telling his parents, who were sleeping over at the time. And then they examined me in the ER and said that my cervix was still intact, the baby was still inside, but it being the middle of the night and it being a weekend, there was no ultrasound service available. Apparently they don't have ultrasound on weekends as well. So I was sent home and was just given Dufaston. It's a medicine that relaxes the uterus to avoid contractions and keep the baby inside. And so we waited until Monday, 17th of October 2016. The ultrasound revealed that our baby, barely 2 months old baby, had already lost its heartbeat. By the looks of it, it stopped growing or developing as early as first week of October. So I was carrying a basically dead baby for about 2 weeks already. I had to undergo DNC, or dilation and curettage procedure, because the tiny baby wasn't coming out despite the meds given to induce labor, or to induce it to come out. If you were able to imagine our joy when we first learned we were pregnant and we got the first ultrasound of our baby, and when I saw that first heartbeat. Now dare to imagine the pain we felt when we lost it. Just like the joy, the pain was beyond words. I don't think I cried that much. Maybe not even enough. I think acceptance came easily for me, even for husband, as far as I could tell. Every time someone asked me how I was doing or how was I holding up, I would answer, I'm okay. Shit happens. Bad things happen, even to good people, and I'm not even one of them. And just shrug it off. I didn't really want to talk about it. Was it just self-defense mechanism? Maybe. A wall that I built so no one would dare trespass, so to speak. Because sometimes people tend to say too much and end up saying things that offend or hurt despite their best intentions. So I just kept conversations about it as short as possible, if not completely evade it. Good thing I was no longer working, so I was spared from going out and meeting people. Months passed. Fast forward again to June 2017. Upon the recommendation of a good friend, we went to a new OBGYN. We did natural workup with her, meaning just vitamins, enhancers, cycle monitoring, and sex timing with ovulation. We did that for a year or so. In the middle of it, I underwent another D&C procedure, or as it is more popularly known, RASPA. Okay, so this was my second, but this time to remove the polyps in my uterus. You see, I have polyps, and though that doesn't mean that I can't get pregnant, polyps can be a hindrance to the ease of implantation of an embryo. But let's leave the description of polyps for another topic. As I was saying, I had a D&C procedure done again to remove the polyps and help clear the way for husband's sperm and eventually for the fertilized egg to attach itself to the uterine wall. But even after that, we were still unsuccessful in conceiving, so we decided to take it to the next level. We told our very nice and very kind OBGYN, and she referred us to her friend who specializes in IUIs, or intrauterine insemination, and IVFs, in vitro fertilization. We started with IUI first since it's less expensive and non-invasive. But let's stop right here for now and save it for another episode. So bye for now, and feel free to subscribe if you want to know what happened next. Bye.